Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about magnetic properties. Okay, in the chapter so far we have discussed about the solids, their characteristic, their classification, then the chemical properties, or you can basically say the electrical properties, then the imperfection in solid, where we have seen about that there are point defect and line defect, and in the category the point defect we have studied about the stoichiometric defect, impurity defect, and non-stoichiometric defect. We have also seen the packing efficiency of solid, that how the packing efficiency is there in HCP and CCP, the packing efficiency in case of body centered cubic structure, the packing efficiency in simple cubic lattice, and about the voids, that is octahedral voids and tetrahedral voids, the closed pack structure, and we have also studied the number of atoms in a unit cells. That may be primitive cubic unit cell, that may be body centered cubic unit cell, and that may be face centered cubic unit cells. And now this is the last topic, that is magnetic properties. So let us start. Students, basically as we are going to deal with the topic that is magnetic properties, so for this you have to know this, that every substance has some magnetic properties associated with it. Okay, and the origin of these properties lies in the electron. So basically we can say that the origin of the magnetic properties can be lie in the electrons. Why we are saying this? Because each electron in an atom behave like a tiny magnet. Okay, as you all know with the fact that in an atom, talking about the structure of atom, so if this is the atom, here will be the nucleus, and in the orbit the electrons are located. So these electrons in an atom behave like a tiny magnet. Okay, they behave like a tiny magnet. Why we are saying this? Because if we are considering about the movement, then these electron shows two type of motions. Okay, the very first is the orbital motion, that is around the nucleus. So as this is the structure of atom, this is the nucleus, this is the orbital, and this orbital there is the location of electron. So the very first motion shown by electron is the orbital motion, that is around the nucleus, this motion. Okay, and talking about the second, that is its spin around its own axis. So if we are considering the electron, then the second motion will be its spin along its axis. Okay, so this is the two motions shown by the electron, and electron being a charged particle, undergoing these motion can be considered as a small loop of current. Okay, why we are assuming it as a small loop of current? Because there is basically the motions, that is the orbital motion, that is the spin around its own axis, and also we know that it is a charged particle. That's why it behave like a loop of current which possesses a magnetic moment. So we can say that each electron has a permanent spin and an orbital magnetic moment associated with it. Okay, so the magnitude of this magnetic moment is very small, and it is measured in unit called Bohr magnetron. Okay, this is measured in a unit that is called Bohr magnetron. It is designated by nu b. Okay, that is Bohr magnetron. So students, this is about the, you can say, magnetic moment. Now on the basis of their magnetic properties, substances can be classified into 5 categories. Okay, on what basis? On the basis of their magnetic properties. So these are as The very first is, you can say, paramagnetic substance. The second is diamagnetic substance. The third is ferromagnetic substance. The fourth is antiferromagnetic substance, and the fifth one is ferrimagnetic substance. Okay, so let us discuss each of them separately. Talking about the very first, that is, you can see here, paramagnetic substances. Okay, so students, paramagnetic substances are weakly attracted by a magnetic field. It is the basic quality of paramagnetic substance, that is, it is weakly attracted by a magnetic field. Okay, it is weakly attracted by a magnetic field. Okay, and they are magnetized in a magnetic field in same direction, but they lose their magnetism in absence of magnetic field. That what is magnetism is there, it is only in the presence of magnetic field, but when the magnetic field is absent, then magnetism will be not there. And paramagnetism is basically due to presence of one or more unpaired electrons. Okay, paramagnetism is because of the presence of one or more unpaired electrons. Okay, you can see the examples. Their examples are like O2, Cu2 plus, Fe3 plus, Cr3 plus, etc. So you can see the example of O2. You have seen the molecular orbital structure of O2. So here we have seen basically the 8 electrons of O2 in the category like 1s2, 2s2 and 2p4. Okay, so the initial electrons are fulfilled, that is, they are paired, but the last 4 electrons in each oxygen atom, suppose here is the one oxygen atom and here is the second oxygen atom. So here in the p orbital there is basically 1, 2, 3 and 4 electron, and again in this orbital there is 1, 2, 3 and 4 electrons. Okay, and making the molecular orbital structure, you can see drawing its structure, you will see that in the anti-bonding molecular, the bonding molecular orbital, all the 6 electron will be paired, but in the anti-bonding molecular orbital the 2 electrons are unpaired. Okay, that's why they are called paramagnetic substances. Now students, talking about the second, that is diamagnetic substance. So basically diamagnetic substance are also weakly repelled, they are weakly repelled by magnetic field. The examples are like H2O, NaCl, C6H6. Basically what happened here, there is pairing of electron. Okay, electrons are paired here in these type of substances. Now let us discuss about the third, that is ferromagnetic substance. So students, few substance like iron, cobalt, nickel, gallium and CrO2 are attracted very strongly by a magnetic field. Okay, such substances are called ferromagnetic substance, and beside this strong attraction, these substances can be permanently magnetized. Okay, you have to pay attention here, that is, these substances can be permanently magnetized. Okay, and one more point that you have to take away here is that in solid state, the metal ion of ferromagnetic substances are grouped together into a small region, and that region is basically called domains. Okay, that region is called domains. Thus each domain acts as a tiny magnet. In an unmagnetized piece of a ferromagnetic substance, the domain are randomly oriented and their magnetic moment get cancelled. Okay, When the substance is placed in magnetic field, all the domain get oriented in the direction of the magnetic field. What I am saying, you can understood this by this diagram. You have seen the domains. So when magnetic field is there, then the domain will be in the direction of the magnetic field. Okay. So this is the category of or classification characteristic of ferromagnetic substance. But talking about the fourth one, that is antiferromagnetic or antiferromagnetic substance, here the substances like MnO showing antiferromagnetism have domain structure similar to ferromagnetic substance. Okay, their structure is similar to ferromagnetic substance, but their domain are oppositely oriented. So because of their opposite orientation, they cancel the each other's magnetic moment. Okay, that's why they are called antiferromagnetic substance. So for this, you can see here in the diagram, it's their domain. So they are in the opposite direction of the magnetic moment, or basically we can say the domains are oppositely oriented, and because of this opposite orientation, the magnetic moment is cancelled out. As the magnetic moment is cancelled out, they are antiferromagnetic substances. Okay. Now at last, let us discuss about the ferrimagnetism. So ferrimagnetism is basically seen in substances like you can say MgFe3O4, Fe3O4, ZnFe3O4, etc. Okay, and here what happens, there is not uniform manner. Okay, no uniform manner is there, that they are not in opposite direction, the domain is not in the same direction. Sometimes the parallel direction can be seen, sometimes anti-parallel direction can be seen. So that's why they are called as the ferrimagnetic substances. Basically those expected to have large magnetism but actually have a small net magnetic moment, and due to unequal number of domain in opposite direction. So examples are like magnetite, that is Fe3O4, ferrites like MgFe2O4 and ZnFe2O4, and these substances lose ferrimagnetism on heating and become paramagnetic. So this is a very contradictory position of ferrimagnetic substance, that is this can show sometimes during heating they become paramagnetic, they switch to the paramagnetic character also. So this is about today's lecture. Today's lecture we have discussed about the magnetic properties, and here in the category we have seen that how an electron can be understood, showing the properties of a magnet. Here it shows the orbital motion and also the motion along its axis, and because of these and having a charge, that is basically the negatively charged, it acts like loop of current and considered as a small loop of current which possesses magnetic moment. Okay, and we have also seen that the magnitude of this magnetic moment is very small, so it is measured in unit called Bohr magnetron. Okay, and also we have seen that on the basis of their magnetic properties they are classified into 5 categories: the paramagnetic substances or paramagnetism, diamagnetism, ferromagnetism, antiferromagnetism, and ferrimagnetism, and we have discussed each of them separately. In paramagnetism, we have seen that the paramagnetic substance are weakly attracted by magnetic field. Basically, the paramagnetism is there because of unpaired electron, and the examples are like O2, Cu2+, Fe3+, Cr3+, etc. Now students, talking about diamagnetism, we have seen that the diamagnetic substance are weakly repelled by the magnetic field, and the examples are like H2O, NaCl, and C6H. Here basically we have seen that the diamagnetism is because of the paired electron. Okay, the electron are paired in case of diamagnetism and electrons are unpaired in case of paramagnetism. Okay, now students, talking about the third, that is ferromagnetism. So here we have seen that substances like iron, cobalt, nickel, etc. are attracted very strongly by magnetic field, and we have also seen that the permanent magnetism can be generated in these substances. And basically we have seen that in solid state these are categorized in a domain, and when we apply the magnetic field, or you can say in the magnetic field, the domains are aligned in the same direction of the magnetic field, okay, and resulting in becoming a permanent magnet. But talking about the antiferromagnetism, here we have seen that the substances like MnO show these, and basically what happens, the domain structure is similar to ferromagnetic substance, but their domain are oppositely oriented, and because of this opposite orientation they cancel each other's magnetic moment. And talking about the ferrimagnetic substance, we have seen that the ferrimagnetism is observed when the magnetic moment of the domain in the substance are aligned in parallel and anti-parallel direction, and these direction is just in unequal manner. You can see here in the diagram, the very first they are in parallel direction, here they are in anti-parallel direction, again they are in anti-parallel direction, so the manner is inconvenient, okay. And basically they are weakly attracted by magnetic field. And one more feature of these ferrimagnetic substances are that these substances lose ferrimagnetism on heating and become paramagnetic. So this is all about today's lecture.